Hi everyone, Kyle here. So I just watched a video by CoffeeZilla this afternoon, and if you've not seen it yet, then I recommend you go check it out. It's pretty good content that he makes over on his channel. He covers a bank in this new video called Yotta Bank, Y-O-T-T-A, Yotta? Maybe it's Yotta Bank. Some of the details about it that he goes into are just nothing short of concerning though, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit in a video of my own. You know, we're at a very interesting time in our digital society where single individuals can just have so much influence on the decisions that viewers and other people make in their lives. And even more worrisome is when that involves people's finances. Serious stuff. From crypto to NFTs, stocks and markets, niche bank accounts, online casinos, you name it. There's a video and a content creator out there for it. So many of these content creators are being paid by companies to push a certain narrative, say good things about their products when they've never even tried or used them. And it's all good if these companies end up going bankrupt or scamming their customers, because then you just delete the YouTube video. Just delete any and all social presence that you had about it, delete the advertisements, and go on about your day like nothing happened. Put a little disclaimer at the beginning of your video or at the bottom of your description of a video, and that just alleviates you then of any responsibility, right? So long story short, a lot of people were sold on this idea that this Yotta Bank was a safe and wise place to store your funds and give those funds a competitive edge to grow. Competitive edges in finance, first of all, should be, and typically always are, one of the first red flags that people usually just glance right over. They're one of the first indicators. You know, somebody saying, well, you can make so much more than you could elsewhere, or it outperforms the index funds, or it's better than high yield savings, or whatever. That's your first tip off. CoffeeZilla goes into detail in his video about how the bank itself has not failed, technically, preventing the FDIC and the insurance policies from being able to step in. And so I guess it is worth noting that their customers' money is technically not gone, which is good. And as far as the public knows, at least it is all still there. But the intermediary tool, the company between Yotta Bank and the customer that is used to actually be able to transmit and, most importantly, withdraw funds, is having an issue for weeks on end, and thus nobody has been able to withdraw their funds. Extremely concerning, very problematic, and I can only imagine what is going through people's minds when they're trying to initiate a withdrawal from their account and they're not getting any status update, or they're not getting any indication that those funds are actually on the move. CoffeeZilla goes on to interview customers. Some of them even disclose that they have up to almost $100,000 stored with this bank, but they also go on to reveal the intended uses of these funds. And it's a variety of responses, right? Saving for a wedding, emergency savings, I'm saving for a house, this is the account that I pay rent from, this is the account that I pay bills from. Very scary, no? Also, what's scary is how many people have watched my videos so far and not hit the subscribe button. Please consider subscribing, perhaps also hit the like button and leave a comment if you'd like. I would greatly appreciate it. So I'm certainly not about to say that these customers are not victims, because they are victims, and ultimately this company has said, you can trust us, your funds are safe with us. It is not the customer's fault that they're unable to withdraw their funds, and I hope this issue is resolved in a timely manner for them. But I also hope they take a moment to reflect and say, wait a minute, why was I storing my emergency savings in an account that I'm also, in a way, not necessarily directly, but in a way considering to be some sort of investment vehicle. And what I mean by that is that these funds are being moved to this bank under the premise that this is going to make them money in some way or grow their account balances faster than it would elsewhere. So to me, that is an investment. You're purposely putting your funds somewhere in an expectation that they will grow or create some sort of positive return for you. Just as an example, notice how popular online banking only has become over the recent years. Typically, they're correlated with high yield interest accounts, and they're able to do so because they've eliminated the cost of having a physical location, having to pay a lease, having to pay for utilities, having to pay for staff, computers, a traveling technology team, maybe, training employees all around the country, etc. They can operate entirely remote. They can use servers in the cloud. Maybe they have a few physical office like headquarter locations in major cities, if anything, but it's not a storefront per se that you can walk into, see a human face, and in the back they have some physical cash on hand that they can delve out to their customers as needed. Your money might grow faster, sure, but take an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a super important thing. Everybody should have an emergency fund, something that you've put money into to act as a safety net in the event that you're unable to make or receive your income. Or maybe you have to suddenly relocate because your home flooded or part of your house caught fire, or maybe you have an emergency situation. Who knows, right? The whole thing about emergencies is we don't know what, where, when, why, or even how it's going to happen. The whole point of an emergency fund is to be there as a bailout fund for yourself. It's you taking a little bit of money now, setting it aside for an ahead of time event. It's a forward-thinking precautionary use case. Okay, great. You have the emergency fund there. Well, what if you're unable to access the internet when you need it? What if that transfer from your digital bank to your physical bank takes 3 business days to clear and you need that money on a Friday afternoon? Well, now you're not going to get it until probably Wednesday morning the following week. What if there's an issue with the digital bank's website or the ability to transmit funds? Some people might keep a chunk of cash at home, and that certainly has its own risks and drawbacks. But at the very least, why would you not keep some funds available with a physical bank that is within relatively reasonable driving distance? Why would you take your emergency funds or funds you intend to use in the very near future for a very large purchase, possibly a down payment on a home, and choose to move every last cent of it to some new borderline experimental company that only operates in the ether? These victims deserve sympathy, but at the same time, there has to be a little bit of common sense exercised. Please take a moment to consider a worst case scenario day or week or event, and just take a few hours every year to at least be conscious of the steps that it would take to access your financial bug out bag. That's all it takes. You don't have to think about this every day. You don't have to spend all this time on it every week or every month. It takes a little bit of consciousness and thinking about it from time to time to ensure that you have some sort of backup plan. And I'm not a prepper. I'm not saying plan for the world to end and you need to have bundles of cash hidden under your mattress. That's not what I'm insinuating at all. But there needs to at least be something. You can't operate on nothing, and do not take those very important funds that you compiled for certain very specific use cases and then go use those as a part of your investment portfolio to be able to generate more income. A very large part of investing is to not be using the funds that you need. Don't be experimenting with these new banking services, or definitely don't be experimenting with crypto type services if this is money that you're using to pay rent, to pay your bills, to pay your mortgage, to be able to buy food for you or an entire family. I hope I've been able to give you something to chew on, something to think about. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Please subscribe and keep an eye out for more content.